The caravan has gone through so much, but after 40 days, it is now back to the place where all the tragedies started. We Shias commemorate this day every year to remember all the tragedies that took place in those 40 days. Our salams to Hussein, on Ali, son of Hussein, on the children of Hussein, and on the companions of Hussein. The day of Arba'een is here, and our hearts are weeping over our master, Abu Abdullah. For those blessed to have the opportunity to walk to Karbala, please remember those who could not take part in this wonderful gathering.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah. May our peace and salutations be upon you, Imam Hussein. We are approaching the 40th of Imam Hussein, known as Arba'een. We are going over the ziyarah text of Arba'een that is taught to us from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, that is attributed to Imam Sadiq. In this ziyarat, one of the lines that we read was that Imam Hussein became a martyr لِيَسْتَنْقِذَ عِبَادَكَ مِنَ الْجَهَالَةِ, so that he could take away his servants, so to save your servants from ignorance, to save the servants of God from ignorance and jahala, وَهَيْرَةِ الضَّلَالَةِ, and the confusion of misguidance. How does misguidance happen? This is an important lesson for us to learn from Ziyarat Arba'een, and this is one of the duties that we have as followers and lovers of Imam Hussein. How does misguidance happen? Misguidance happens by the faculties that we have. One of the ways, and one of the main ways that it happens, is that God has given us certain faculties. He has given us the faculty of intellect. He has given us the faculty of love and lust and passion and shahwa. He has given us the faculty of tawahum and imagination. He has given to us the faculty of anger. This is according to one of our great scholars by the name of Mullah Naraqi, who divides mankind to these four powers and four faculties that he has. So he has the intellect, the desires, anger, and imagination. And misguidance happens when one of these faculties overpowers and overwhelms the intellect. And the intellect, it doesn't make sense. He says, it doesn't make sense, for example, for me to become angry. It doesn't make sense, for example, for me to show this kind of reaction to this brother or sister or to my family members. But the anger becomes so strong it overwhelms the aql. Or passions, for example. There are many sins that God has made for us and that we should stay away from. And when the passion and the shahwa and lust overwhelm our intellect, that is when we become misguided. And also about the imagination, the same thing. So for us to save ourselves from misguidance and to learn from Ziyarat Arba'een, we need to strengthen the practical aql, the practical intellect. And that is, we need to think about the consequences of every action that we do. If we're going to, for example, live a pure life, live a good life, we need to learn, for example, that when we have passion, that there's a solution to this passion. And our aql tells us, you need to get married, for example. Or for example, if you have passion, you're passionate about the world, your aql tells you that this world that you live in, it is not real life for you. You're only going to live here for a very short time period. There's going to be an eternity after you. Allāmah Tabatabai was mentioning in class, sometimes he would teach philosophy or other sciences, and in the middle of class he would tell his students that remember you have an eternity in front of you. So our aql is guiding us towards our final destination. Our aql is telling us how to limit and govern our different faculties that we have to stay away from misguidance. And this is a great faculty that Allah has given us. And the more intellectual you become, the more you strengthen the practical aql, the more you'll govern your desires, the more you'll govern your anger, the more you'll be reserved and controlled and be calm. And the more you'll govern your imagination, and sometimes you think about things that seem sometimes very scary. Sometimes there are people that are scared of their own shadow. But the aql tells us, why are you afraid? This thing that you're afraid of, maybe 1 out of 1,000,000 people this affects. So for us to live a very healthy life, for us to live a very religious and Islamic life, we should make stronger and live our lives day to day by the aql. And by this way, we will be saving ourselves from misguidance. Because we learn from Ziyarat Arba'een, those that fought Imam Hussein, those that were killers of Imam Hussein, they were those that followed their hawa, they followed their lower desires. They weren't allowed, their intellect did not govern their entire actions. So we as followers of Imam Hussein, we need to become the most intellectual and inshallah the most reasonable of people. And Allah has given us this great gift by the name of aql, so that we can stay away from misguidance. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.